Vroom, 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 vroom. There are deer everywhere. It's pretty crazy, huh? Oh dear. I hope I don't hit one. That'd be a bad accident. That'd be real terrible. Come on, I need somebody to show up. I need at least one person to show up so I can talk to you. One person. I see one person. What's up? Two people. I see two people. What's up? Gotta say something. Two people are here. They read the title. They know we're vibing and driving in this late night. What's up, Andrew? What's up, Jordan? How's it going? How's it going, you two? Are you a soccer fan? So I played soccer growing up. I stopped playing soccer in like junior high and stuff, but I ended up coming back out for the team my junior and senior year. I was a captain. I played middle defender or like defender in general. I don't like watching soccer that much, but that one game the other day, was it Switzerland and France? That was insane. I was watching that. That game was so crazy. Holy crap! That one guy that missed the final penalty kick. That was such a bad kick, by the way. Right in the middle, basically right in the middle. Um, the goalie did get the jump on it. He did pick the right side. But if he would have, if the I forget his name, if the guy who kicked it would have placed it better in the left corner, it would have went in. Yeah, but that's crazy. Isn't France like the goats, or not the goats, but the top seed basically in the tournament? What do I want? Fate? Nothing. I want nothing out of anybody. I'm droving. I want people to ask me conversational questions so I can talk to my phone in the dark while driving at night on my way back home from a Planet Fitness because I'm because I drive to Planet Fitness every night. Not every night, like 3 or 4 nights a week. Hope I don't get pulled over by the cops. I saw that Messi's contract is up, right? I didn't realize how much money he was getting paid. So much more than like LeBron James can make with all the salary cap restrictions in the NBA. They don't really have that for soccer, do they? You can just pay people whatever you want. Pretty sure. But he was making like 200 million a year. That's pretty crazy too. I used to, yeah, soccer's fun. People like to say soccer is for like soft people or like I don't know, foot fairies is one of the derogatory slurs about soccer players. But honestly, I played my four sports were cross country and soccer. I did those at the same time, basketball and track. You can actually play physical in soccer. You can't play physical in other sports like you can in soccer. With zero pads on, zero fouls called. The way you can just like run into people in soccer and I don't know the way you have to box people out in soccer. It's pretty rough, pretty crazy. That's the only sport I got close to having a fight in, fighting somebody. It was really funny actually. This one uh, kid that I was playing against like tripped me by accident, I'm pretty sure. But we were like feuding the entire game. As we fell to the ground and we were on the ground, I threw the kid. I like literally grabbed him and threw him. But the ref had a bad angle, so he gave the other kid a red card. And I was like, oh no. They gave the other kid a red card when I'm the one that threw him. Uh-oh. Yeah, it is a lot of money. I'm live from within the trunk of someone's car, basically. I'm sure the audio sucks. I'm sure at least one person watches this entire thing after I upload it. I'm going to make it private, but I'll leave it up a little bit because there's at least one person out there. And if you are that person watching this on playback for some reason, staring at this black screen, comment and let me know because I appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. Very much. Come on, somebody else say something. 7 people say something. Say something interesting. Comment on something. Or talk about something. Welcome to to today's edition of Car Crash Central. I'm gonna drive my car off the road to a bridge. Your biggest fan, you number 2024. Spencer, you don't gotta, dude. This isn't even a real. Thank you. This isn't even a real stream. I'm just like vibing, you know. The audio quality sucks. Thank you for the beta. Beta. How's the website coming? So basically, I need to make a good bio for everything, like a good summary for the page. I'm happy with all of the design so far. I don't know why I design. Why I couldn't say that for a second. Design. All the designs. I'm really happy with all the designs so far. The designs of the logos and everything. I'm all about the color combination of like white, gray, black. Those are the clothes I wear. That's what I like. So I'm happy with that. I think it looks official enough, clean enough. My studio situation probably isn't going to get better for a while, but I'm going to make it work with what I have. I think people might like it a little bit just because, you know, these signs. But I got to get the Facebook running. I got to get my computer organized too, so that I can record videos and upload them to YouTube and Facebook really quickly. The Twitter is technically up. It's really hard to manage 4 different social media profiles. Plus, I want to do another. Maybe I don't even know. I want to start doing debate reviews again because those are fun for my Jolah channel. I don't know. I ran out of steam. Even watching. Did anybody out of the 5 people here? Did you watch the panel from Hans tonight with Destiny and everything? And infrared and all that. I didn't, and aristocracy. I don't know anybody else other than them. But did anybody see that panel tonight? Well, even in that panel, I just got like I feel fatigued from all these internet conversations. I mean, it's honestly tiring. Maybe I'm consuming too much of the content. But like what? I don't know. And I'm excited to watch just for the content, I guess. The Vosh versus whatever the Nazi guy, the eugenics man. What's his name again? JD or whatever. I'm excited to watch that, but I'm like kind of. I don't know. It doesn't really hit that sweet spot for me right now. I have been watching Sam Cedar debates, and I have made a tweet about it. Although nobody really likes my tweets or anything. Sam Cedar debates, JF. Sam Cedar debates, when he talks about like different policies and stuff, and he's debating like libertarians even, the way he advocates for his issues is much more effective to watch than like Vosh or Destiny if you want to like get better at talking to people about these. About like how to explain things like single payer and like and how Medicaid and like how anything works. Vosh and Destiny is a lot of meta conversations about like labels and about like internet dramas, internet beefs. It's about rhetorical battles. It's about like a boxing match, WWE. But like what Sam Cedar does, if you watch him, the way he walks people through how single payer works is so effective and so useful. There's so much utility in what Sam Cedar does that you're simply not getting out of those other two. And I actually think consuming too much Destiny or Vosh can make you a lot worse at conversing, at talking, at getting people in the real world to your side. I think it makes you a lot worse at doing that if you only watch them. So I'd recommend not getting too deep into it. I got too deep into it, for sure. But, that's the content people watch. People like shiny object stuff. That's one of the reasons I made the separate, like, news type channel. So I can cover just, like, random news stuff. And I can have one channel for debate content, whatever the hell that means, streams, and the other channel will be for news stories for a more normie audience. And I'll start uploading to Facebook, but chill and smiling. Yeah, well, It's better when, because Sam is actually defending policies. He's defending Medicare for all. He's defending universal, I don't know, pre-K, or like he's talking about systemic racism in a really definite way. He's not talking like an orator. That's one of my criticisms of Vosh. Oh, there's a dead animal in the middle of the road. Oh, so sad. Um, I wonder if that car just hit that actually, because they freaking sped past me at like 70 miles per hour. The speed limit here is 45. But when Vosh talks to his audience, he's talking as if, or when he debates somebody, I mean, he's talking as if he's talking to a crowd, as if he's giving a presentation. So that makes him come off as really condescending and really pretentious in a lot of ways that his audience and himself might not really understand, unless if they tried talking like that to regular people. Yeah, the way he talks isn't good to replicate if you're going to try to get people on your side. Destiny, the way he looks at the world in general, and he says this a lot, isn't really compliant with how other people view it. So it's hard for him to really give a good model of how to approach people. I think he does really. I think he's better than Vosh with like interpersonal conversations about these things and about defending policies and stuff. Vosh is better on social issues. That's what I would say. If I want somebody to argue social, actually, Destiny does it good too though, because he's not. I don't know. It's hard to. I do think Destiny's style is more applicable to the real world, more applicable than Vosh's, but I guess it's your personal preference. Spencer, yeah, the Bloodsport stuff is entertainment. Yeah, debunk Nazis, but do they even talk about that stuff? Using I don't even think that they should use the word Nazi. This one, okay. Another thing about Vosh when you're watching him, and wait 1 second, Spencer. Vosh was doing a really good segment. He was doing a great segment. I forget which video this was, but a great segment on the Republican Party's lies about like systemic racism. And I'm like, oh, this is such good content. This is so good. I want to show everybody this. I want to show everybody this video. But in the same video, Vosh talks about like freaking furries and neo-Nazis and fascists and tankies and a bunch of other weird, really online stuff that turns people away. So, like, if I want to show somebody, like, oh, this is what I'm talking about here, this guy explains it really well, I can't show them Vosh because he's so, like, it's, I don't know, it's great for the online space, but, like, I can't show people it. Like, okay, you're debunking Republicans. They're basically all Nazis. I'm pretty sure if Republicans were in power for long enough, they'd bring slavery back. Like, I'm not even saying I disagree with that. Rhetorically, that just sucks for anybody that's going to be watching that's not already a part of your community. Do you watch a lot of Hassan, Sam Cedar, David Pakman? Because that's easy to get your brother into it. Oh, yeah, definitely. He loves my name is Hassan. Another thing with Hassan, too. Hassan backs away from debate content and all that stuff, right? He doesn't want to debate people. He doesn't want to do anything too serious. He's a normie covering politics sometimes, and he's decent at it. You know, his debunks are pretty good. He was a serious political commentator before he became like a Twitch star. Him being such a normie and talking to XQC, Ludwig, what's the other, Ms. Kiff, all these normie Twitch people. Hassan talking to all these normies, getting a bunch of normies in his audience, and then sprinkling politics into his content in a really chill way. That works pretty well, I think. It's really easy to grow something like that. E-drama debate. E-drama, baby. And I still like the content. People won't take you as serious. That's why I said about my channel, Jolah, with my Tucker Carlson and Fox News and Biden videos. Like, if you come to my channel, like, oh, this person's pretty reasonable, young guy knows what he's talking about. But then they see on my channel a bunch of weird shit about, like, debate politics and Hassan and tankies and what really defines a fascist. You can have that discussion in a good way, but the way we talk about it with the debate content simply isn't good. But they see that content mixed in with the actual news, and they get turned away from it. So that's why I made the second channel. But growing YouTube channels is so hard. then shout out to everybody for subscribing to the news channel, but I'm pretty sure that those are all people who already subscribed to this channel. So, like, I'm going to have to really start working and grinding to get people from outside in, people that never saw my content before, and they'll only know me as the Break the Cycle guy, a new internet show, whatever. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I go back to school. Hopefully I find a way to produce some stuff. Maybe I'll talk about my experiences working in government and stuff like that, and working with legislation and all that. Oh boy. You like most of the videos when it's just me spreading knowledge alone? Thank you so much, Robert. That's a good point too, Noah. Everybody serves a purpose. You know, everybody serves, like I said in my one video, that one debate, sort of debate, with that one revolutionary lefty person, when I said, we need Elizabeth Warren, we need Andrew Yang, we need AOC, we need Katie Porter, we need freaking Cori Bush, we need every type of progressive. We need a progressive to appeal to every kind of voter. You need content creators to fill different roles too. So like Sam Cedar's good at what he does, Vosh is good at what he does, Destiny's good at what he does, Hassan's good at what he does. Yeah. The new channel. Thank you. I will stay safe. I have the phone mounted right next to my windshield, so I could see the. It's like looking at a GPS basically. And I'm going 20 miles under the speed limit on an empty road. The new channel, it's linked in my community tab a couple times. It's called Break the Cycle. I don't know. I just picked that. I've always paid attention to cycles. Cycles of addiction, trauma, pain, abuse, whatever. I used to call every single day of my life in like the freshman year of high school the cycle, because if you really think about what you do, whenever I lay in bed at night, I feel like I never left bed. I really try to visualize. I look at myself. I don't know what this is called. I need to talk to somebody who is smarter than me so I can get this all framed up correctly. But I look at myself through sort of like a third person lens, and I'm like, wait, I was just in this bed a little bit ago. The day went by that quick. The experience of me laying in my bed is so familiar, and I've done this so many times. Or like in school, in homeroom in ninth grade, I'm like, I do the same thing every day the same way. I walk in the same directions. I go to the same classes. It's the cycle. The cycle is repeating again. But then, of course, we have the cycle for every day, every hour, in history, and there's cycles to everything. And it really does take people to say, screw it, I'm breaking whatever cycle this is, and it's extremely difficult. I know there's organizations with the name Break the Cycle, like there's some organizations about abuse. That's the main one, domestic abuse. There's some about like biking. There's actually a group out of like New York, I think it was, or I don't know, some city. It's a group of black cyclists who their whole thing is we are going to break the cycle of like poverty and whatever and systemic issues or whatever of trauma within our community by we're going to ride bikes around, and that's going to be a cool community event and all that stuff. There's a Break the Cycle for that. A lot of the Break the Cycle logo ideas, if you Google it, are all bike chain inspired. Yeah, but by the way, I'm getting my new contacts in a week. What else is there? New contacts. I might be getting nose surgery, so my voice will be less nasally because I can't breathe out my nose. I don't know if I ever said that to anybody. I have to take like 20 nose drops or whatever it's called, nose sprays, to breathe a little bit out of my nose. It's always been very difficult because of my deviated septum. in your nose when your nose is made wrong on the inside, so air can't pass through. That's how it be. Wait, what? What are you talking about? He has. I have deeper moral values than someone like Destiny, Temple Crater, and even Sam Cedar. I'm trying to think about what you're talking about. As far as my entire interesting point, yeah, I guess it's always sort of reoccurring. Because you have to understand, growing up, if I took 9 out of 10 friends that I had, or at least 9 out of 10 people I knew, 9 out of 10 people I knew grew up with their dads being alcoholics where I'm from. So you see that cycle repeat. If your parents are addicts, you are biologically and you're physiologically and psychologically predetermined or predisposed to be an addict. That cycle is very hard to frickin' break because what happens in areas like this, and this happens everywhere, but mainly in rural regions, coal country, what happens is people have nothing to do here but drink. They drink for football games, they drink up in the bush, up in the mountains, up in the forest, they all drink. The only issue with this is they don't really drink to have fun all the time. Some people can drink to have fun, a lot of people can from more rich areas. But when you're from a poor area like this, and you have a lot of trauma, and your parents are drunks, and you are genetically predisposed to be a drunk, then you might go to a party, and everybody thinks you're such a fun person because you drink so much. Look at let's say Greg. Look at Greg over there. He comes to every party and smashes so many beers so quick. Oh my, what a beast. He blacks out every night. So that Greg guy will seem like a very fun guy to a lot of people who go to the parties around here. But the issue is, Greg's parents were probably alcoholics. Greg's parents have a lot of issues. Greg, nobody even knows it because they are used to this cycle. Greg is developing a physiological and a psychological addiction. And alcohol is worse than something like weed because weed you get habitually addicted, and you get like your dopamine sensors fire up. You get like a dopamine addiction to it. You get a psychological addiction to like weed. Alcohol, the big issue with alcohol, just like a couple of like opioids, they're actually pretty similar when it comes to what they do to your, like what kind of drugs they are. But alcohol affects your body. That's why you see a lot of alcoholics. Their bodies become so used to the alcohol that if they don't drink, they might die. They have to go to the ER to detox. A lot of alcoholics do. So this Greg kid at these parties, his parents are alcoholics. Everybody thinks he's having a great time, but this Greg kid becomes an alcoholic, and he doesn't even know it because he thinks this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have fun after the games. There's nothing else to do around here. Everybody gets drunk. Everybody gets drunk. Everybody has fun at these parties. Everybody gets drunk. This is normal. It's so normalized. And now almost all the adults around here are functioning alcoholics or not functioning alcoholics. And people just don't know that's a cycle that needs to be broken. They don't see that as an issue. They don't understand why beer distributors advertise more in my area than they do in a rich area. They don't advertise the same beers here that they do in college towns. They advertise, they know what they're doing. They know how to get people stuck in a cycle. JoJo, even if Break the Cycle is copyrighted, you know what isn't copyrighted? Break the Cycle News. It's a pretty generic statement. When it comes to my overall approach, where I differ from like Destiny or Bosch or like Kalinsky, I'm in between. I'm more in between them. I'm morally charged and I care about. I have principles, but I also it's interesting. I have the same like passion and care as like Kalinske, but I also don't operate off of zero principle like Vosh does. Like when Vosh says he operates, when he does stuff, he doesn't care about principle. He just does his utilitarian calculus. He does what he thinks is going to work. He uses whatever rhetoric is going to work. He doesn't really go on principle. I'm like in between those two frameworks, I think. I want to be pragmatic, but I'm not going to abandon what makes me me or what the issues are that I'm fighting for. And I'm pretty willing to change my approach. I don't think these talking heads really are, these media pundits, these streamers, are willing to change their approach very much. I think being, 90% optics. I agree that optics is very important, but I do also agree that we need to make a huge effort to not rely on optics. Optics, an optical approach, only being good for looks and rhetoric, I think that needs to be the final. Ideally, and this is why I called Destiny's framework of the world similar to Kyle Kalinske, in the sense where they are both very idealistic. So Kyle Kalinske is really morally idealistic. So he assumes everybody cares about certain core things, and that there are corrupt media people who are like extorting or they're blocking what people truly care about. So Kyle Kalinske envisions an ideal world where people in America are not selfish. They want everybody to have universal health care. They want everybody to have freaking free child care and free food and free health and free college. Because when Kyle talks about these issues, he's like, everybody agrees already. He's really idealistic in the sense where it's like, oh, AOC should fight for what's right no matter what. There's no pragmatic route to go. I don't care about pragmatism. I'd rather die being principled than survive being pragmatic or whatever he says. I think that's a really idealistic way to look at the world. In the same way that I think it's idealistic for Destiny to rely too much on logic. Too much on logic and debate, bro, like type of stuff. Because he relies on that really heavily. Like we need to make good arguments. We can't sugarcoat things too much. We can't use certain forms of rhetoric because that might be dishonest, or it's not close enough to the perfect truth. Like that Katie Porter debate thing we had. That's a really idealistic way to look at it. And when I said like American voters, you gotta play on their emotions a little bit. You have to make them care about it. You have to make them care. You don't have to. You're not going to be able to get them to know about it. You got to make them care about it. Show them why they should care enough to put pressure in a certain direction. I know he wants to simply like educate people, but that's not how the world works. That's idealistic. Thinking we can rely on only logic and good, the idea that people are going to objectively look at like how policies work or anything. That's never been how policy has or how politics has ever worked. So that's really idealistic on the other end. I think if I had to pick one that was better than the other, I think I'd rather rely only on Destinies if I had to pick one, because he will settle for like really slow societal change. He won't he won't totally lose. Kalinski's strategy, I think, is a totally like losing activist strategy, which I love. I love activists, of course, but I'd rather move the system in a good way than just feel morally righteous. If you're on the outside with pitchforks and signs and you're yelling and nothing actually changes, I don't really want to do that. If I had to pick one, like if I had to pick between Kalinske or Destiny's option, I'd pick a mix in between. So a really responsible form of liberal, semi-left politics with populist rhetoric. Because I don't like populism, but I think populist rhetoric is necessary. In history, I can make a lot of arguments throughout American history as to why populist rhetoric is definitely necessary for many different things. Joe Biden is not a Destiny. I know you don't agree, Fight, but Joe Biden is probably going to go down as a top five president unless if a big crisis happens. He's probably going to go down as a top five president of all time. None of our American presidents are that exceptional, exceptionally good. There is no great. There is no. You could say there's a great American president, but you probably can't say there's many good American presidents. If you want to do like a analysis of like all good actions versus all bad actions, it's really hard. But yeah, Biden's gonna go down top five president of all time, most likely. He'll be forgotten too. But I'm talking about historians when they go back and do their president rankings. They ranked Obama 10th. I'm pretty sure, didn't they? Biden is, and there's a good article about this. I forgot the name, but he is really a Christian liberal. He believes in Christian democracy, and what this has historically been. I think this was something that was over in Europe more so, but Joe Biden's job. He knows we need some type of change. He knows we need some type of change. He is pushing for some change. He understands we cannot keep the system exactly how it is. There is pressure being put on the system, and he is letting things move quicker than someone like Obama did or someone like Clinton did or whatever. There is a lot of energy that is pushing it in a different direction. But Biden's role is to shut down the far right and far left. He wants a nice, stable, liberal democracy. He doesn't want any populism. He doesn't want any of that. So, Biden will listen to Bernie because he knows he needs to, but he doesn't want socialists to take power, and he doesn't want fascists to take power. And he will lean more left on policies to prevent that if he needs to. Politicians are tools, he's being pushed in good directions on a lot of things. I'm trying to think about if I wanted him to fix one thing about his presidency. I'm trying to think what would be something I would, if I had to change one thing about Biden's presidency, what would I change? Biden's shutting down the right by being boring and getting stuff done. Pushing for bipartisanship, pushing for liberalism. It might not work, but he is doing it. I think the number one thing I would change about the Biden presidency is the filibuster. I don't want the filibuster to need to be abolished or whatever, or, bypassed, but I think we need to make sure voting rights are held up in America. We need the For the People Act to get through. I think that's a necessity. I think it's like an existential necessity. I think Joe Manchin needs to get his stuff in order. Because I don't think we're going to have, because Republicans will take power whenever they can. They don't give a crap about any principle or anything. Politicians. I want to make sure I say Republican politicians because I don't. I'd rather him. I think fighting for voting rights is much more important than the minimum wage. Voting right, the fight to make sure people can vote is the number one battle right now. Minimum wage is much lower on my list personally. Let me look at this. Too soon to rank Obama. FDR wasn't left in any regard. I wouldn't consider him left. FDR instituted the most basic liberal social welfare state. I wouldn't even say social welfare state. The New Deal, although more government programs were made, there wasn't really a big push of worker ownership or anything like that. This was all like government funded. They'd give money to like businesses to fix infrastructure and different organizations. FDR himself was not a socialist by any means. He was pushed to do more left policies, or not even left, but more populist policies. FDR and Hitler and the Nazi Party and Mussolini, they all had a little bit of a fun arrangement there. They liked each other, or they liked. The Nazi Party said they liked FDR because they agreed with his New Deal that was meant to rebuild America, because that's what Germany needs. We need our own plan to rebuild America. So he did populist things and actually carried through. I don't know if I'd consider him left, though. I might actually, if I had to really look at it, LBJ I would probably put as more left, like as far as the policies that happened in his admin, more democracy friendly, more left than FDR. I know LBJ had a pretty stacked House and Senate for a lot of time, but FDR did things unilaterally. He wasn't authoritarian by every sense of the word. Just we were lucky that he was a good one. we're lucky that he wasn't an authoritarian that wanted absolute, power. He cared about liberal democracy, and he cared about civil liberties, and he cared about all that stuff. We're lucky he was a good populist. Anyway, everybody have a good night. LeBron James. That's what I meant by LBJ. No, I think, yeah, I might have to look through that then, because FDR left. He's populist. He's a liberal. He did a welfare state. I don't consider that left. Maybe by those standards in U.S. Yeah, I mean, at that time, definitely. You can consider him really left. They were calling, everything he did socialist. So he did move the what's the box called again? Oh my God, remind me quick before I go. He got criticized from the left at the time for not doing enough left stuff. The Overton window. FDR was 100% not a socialist. I'm just saying, we're lucky. We are lucky FDR was a good guy. We're lucky FDR. We're lucky FDR wasn't like the other guys across the pond. I'm just saying. He definitely was a populist, but he was a good, All right, I'll stream tomorrow or Sunday or Monday or something like that. Okay, break the cycle. Thank you for hanging out.